We give out more tents the last 7 days than we have the previous 3 months. And unfortunately, what they're worried about is the grass instead of getting homes rebuilt.
We'll help anybody. We don't turn nobody away.
He got no help from FEMA, not a penny, nothing.
Look at this right here.
Their name is Blue Collar Relief, a volunteer-based camp in Clyde, North Carolina, that's been providing essential supplies to 50 to 100 families every single day. But now the city of Clyde wants to shut it down, and fast. The deadline is August 26th. Today I spoke with Chris Griggs, one of the people behind the effort, to hear what's really going on.
So this actually started with me bringing a generator and supplies to my mom and dad from Kentucky. I'm from here, but for the last 2 years I've lived up there. The storm happened and I brought them supplies and I just kept bringing things from Kentucky. I did have up at the post office, you can see up there, we would sit there with the stuff. It was kind of a central location. I started getting more stuff and this family was flooded out. The water was up to the second level of that home.
Wow, the second level.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And I brought them things in and kind of got to know them. We started getting campers in and I needed somewhere to put them while we cleaned them and got them ready to send out. So she said I could use this for whatever I needed. We got the first 53-foot trailer in and it was food and everything else. We got another one for heaters and everything. And I stayed in the hot tent here. You can look on my Facebook, you'll see the hot tent. I stayed here for a little while, and then I had a camper donated. And then some people from the Outer Banks come up and didn't like that we were running around in the mud. And let's see, the Outer Banks, the guy's name was Robert Robbins. He got a bunch of people together and they got us the 2 shipping containers with the canopy. We just got that up maybe 3.5, 4 months ago. We had to get permits and all that. But we had some other donors from Upper Michigan and volunteers that got some containers better fit to hold our stuff. Well, we got the permits. As soon as we finished this, we got a meeting about, a notice to appear at the town meeting. And whereas they had told us they could re-up us on our temporary permit up to twice, which would give us 18 months. We wasn't even over our first 6 months, and the meeting was to tell us they were going to close us on August 26th. Citing safety really was one of the things, and then it was rezoning to commercial for what we're doing, but the river's right there. And we actually, this is where we stayed for months while we volunteered so we could be here 24/7. And they give us 30 days to get the campers out. They wouldn't even allow us to permit those, which there's a lot of them that are permitted, but just not ours. They allowed us to go through and get everything up and decided to tell us that they were going to shut us down on the 26th. It really goes back to rezoning, but we're willing to work with them. We don't want to fight them. We want to be able to continue what we're doing because the need is so great. Give us an answer. I mean, we've asked if we do the application for rezoning and spend that money, are they still going to say no? But we can't get a definitive answer. I mean, as you can see, we got that camper in to donate, but we started repairing it and it's just not repairable, but we still give out It's between 50 and 100 people a day, or families a day. Food, diapers. You seen that guy, he was needing gas, water.
Yeah, there's still a big need for help out here. And it's like, I feel like as each month goes by, people forget more and more and more that there's people that still need help. And there is a need for it out here. It's still recovering.
The last month and a half, it has almost felt like the beginning, because people are wearing out their welcome with family. Their money has run out that they did get from FEMA, so they can't afford hotels. We've given out more tents the last 7 days than we have the previous 3 months. And I know that's due to people just losing their housing, losing the funds. You know, things are moving so slow. And it's like I tell everybody, you go up and down both sides of this road, and each house that doesn't have somebody in it had somebody in it. Where are they? If they can't come back here, they can't rebuild here. And unfortunately, what they're worried about is the grass instead of getting homes rebuilt. You know, that just came out yesterday. They're worried about the people that can't come back to their home, getting their grass mowed.
It almost appears that they care more that it's like in their eyes, this is an eyesore, and they just want this gone.
Yes. Because we actually were told in a meeting that it could be rezoned. They would approve it for pretty much anything but this.
Yeah.
Which I don't, it did start as flood relief, but as, you know, very early on we realized the need's gonna be great for a long time. And why not create something bigger that can stay here, you know, permanently, you know, yearly. We can be a community center, you know, with the ability to be a disaster relief, you know, and that's what we went to Kentucky, Virginia. We sent supplies everywhere, all while maintaining our stance here and helping the community here.
But I was asking Ronnie too this question, and you guys have met so many families through this. Do you have a particular story or family in mind?
Down on the corner here, Gintar, it was actually months after the flood, months. We were still up here, this wasn't up yet, and he was riding a bicycle and he stopped to ask me for something, and I said, well, why haven't you been here before? He said, well, I didn't know you were here. And he doesn't speak real good English. I cannot remember, he's an awesome person. He's actually volunteered with one of our other groups. He had just lost his voucher, and at the same time he lost that, they told him his house couldn't be rebuilt. They were pretty much done. So all he had to come back to was a flooded ambulance that he was living in, and it's still down there. It's on the corner on the left if you go down this way. That's where he was living, and I got pictures of it. The mud in it was like that. And this was months, like, I want to say 6 months, 5 months maybe. But that night we got with a group called Rebuild Haywood, and I put out for an emergency camper. That morning, those ladies had a camper sitting here, and it was set, but he still can't rebuild his home. They're trying to make him not live there on his own property. But with what he's been offered to buy out, he could buy a piece of property, but he's gonna be living in a tent. Down here, there's people that had tried to rebuild. They've stopped that. There's a family there's 3 campers down there in one driveway. One's on one side of the road and the other home's on the other side of the road. But we've been helping them since the beginning. There's 3 campers in one driveway, and the one family is staying in top of their house and have been since the flood. We've been helping them with propane and water and everything, you know, since day one. But they're fighting with all they got to be able to stay. And I believe the one closest to the river may be able to get to stay, but the one on the other side of the road, furthest away, is the one that's having to fight the hardest to get to stay. Like, everybody through here is losing everything they've got.
Yeah.
But for what? You know, I feel like instead of ordinances and this and that, these people need a more permanent, and campers are awesome for a while, but they need their permanent homes back. I've had a lot of people from the community that didn't even get affected come by here and stop and thank us and show support just because they realize, you know, how big a need there still is. And just because they didn't get affected, they know their neighbors did. You know, you can go up and down either side, like I said, and you can still see it. And I've had a lot of them, you know, tell us if it wasn't for us, they don't know what they would have done through the winter because nobody else was out here. You know, nothing like this was set up.
Are these like donations that you guys get, or?
So I started with 15 propane tanks. When I started doing this, I started with 15 20-pound propane tanks somebody donated. And then along the way, you know, I'd swap those out, and then it got to like 25, and I think we got 280 something now. That we've stopped doing it. We're doing it for people in the campers now. You know, it's hot, and some people, you know, camping may take advantage, but you know, that's neither here nor there. But the people that are still in campers or that are still in their homes and that only way they got to cook is propane. But we stopped that about a month ago, filling all of them up. You know, we were just, because it was so cold. We're pretty much still giving everything out. But we also, we've got a list in there, and I was telling you about Rebuild Haywood. So people coming through here, I get their information, and I write it down and I send it to the other organization that we're working with. And what they'll do is go out and inspect, and they'll see what needs to be done and help if they can. And they also help get campers as well. You know, what I don't get donated in through here, I can reach out to them, and they help a lot.
Wow.
So it's really I feel if the city was more in tune with what we were doing here, we could be bigger and better by now. But, you know, the people are making it work.
Yeah. So. And Ronnie was saying that people were accusing you guys online of stuff that wasn't true. I'm sure you guys probably get a lot of that.
Yeah, I try to stay, I try not to get, me personally, because it gets handled pretty quick. You know, the truth speaks for itself. You showed up here, you seen what was going on, that's how it is all the time. But yeah, people are always gonna, if you're doing anything good, people are gonna talk. And I promise you that, and that's one thing I've learned. And I don't bash other organizations, they kind of fall on their own, you know, when things get real, and we're one of the very few that are still hanging around. So, and I've not really heard anything horrible. There has been accusations, but those people, a couple of them are actually in jail themselves. So again, truth speaks for itself.
Hi, Ronnie. Thanks for letting us speak with you. I heard that this camp is being shut down. Can you kind of give us a little bit of insight on why and what's going on?
Well, it's the zoning orders, and in the flood zone, they give us permission to put this here from up there. Don't want us here because we've been accused of everything going on. We had, when we was up there, we had big old tarps laid out and had clothes, since the 53-foot trailer was completely full of clothes. They said that we was selling them and keeping all the money and not returning it back in here. And we've been helping 50 to 100 families daily with water, food, clothes, cleaning supplies.
That's a lot of people, 50 to 100 families a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here they don't have to go through like a process of like proof of residence or this and that and the other. It's pretty easy. They just kind of come here and they can get their whatever they want, which is nice for them.
Yeah, like we write down one family times 6 or how many else is in the family, and like water, clothes, buckets full of supplies. That's what we write down.
So when you guys, so you have to leave. It's August.
August 26th.
August 26th. Then where are all these supplies? You guys, what's going to happen to all them? I mean,
Well, they don't want none of them to stay here, so we're gonna have to figure out somewhere to move them. Then we'll have to figure out some way to take the awning down to move it. But we don't want to go nowhere. We want to stay here. Anything like that, we'll help anybody. We don't turn nobody away. Yeah, see, people have been coming from Buncombe County, Asheville, Waynesville, Canton, and everywhere like that. Because we're still the one that's open. Everybody else is closed. The churches are closed, everything.
So right now we're driving down this one street in Clyde, and there's houses on either side that are abandoned. So I'm going to show them to you. Look at this. It says no trespassing on it. I am assuming from the floods. More houses here that you can tell were hit bad. This whole area was completely underwater. And it's so eerie to see these homes that, I mean, beautiful homes, you know. All right, guys, so we did speak to a gentleman who lived at that house. And Mom, do you want to kind of tell us, he spoke Spanish and she was translating for me, but kind of tell the people what he said to you.
He said that he haven't received any help at all, that he's doing it himself from his own money. He's fixing the house himself.
He got no help from FEMA, not a penny, nothing. As you saw in that clip I showed you, the house is, he had, I think, a contractor that he paid for himself, lift it up, and he's doing all the rest of the work himself. All of this got flooded out too. This church too. Look at this house. I don't know if it was like that before the flood or not. Wow, look at this, guys. Cute house, but man, look at what happened. Just whole side got flooded out. Same thing here. You can see the mud still in the house. Water was up pretty much to the roof down here. It was bad here in Clyde. And this house right here. Yeah. Now that the summer is hot, you can start to smell the rotting wood from many of these houses.
Chronicles of Olivia. Join and become a member for exclusive benefits, behind-the-scene insights, and personal stories I don't share anywhere else.